Matikela, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the pattern matching situation. That's what we are going to talk about in this video because it is the evidence of okay, it is, well, maybe it is the evidence, but let's talk about this. The pattern matching is being exposed. The technical truth, the court is not being told by Ubaloyi. Let's deal with that. Now, today we need to slow everything down. I know I did a video about this, but it seems as if there are people who still don't understand because what is being said in court sounds technical, complicated, and convincing. But you strip it down, it collapses. Now, we keep hearing this phrase, pattern matching. It's being repeated over and over as if it proves that a phone was unlocked, used an activity making transaction, actively making transactions. But here's the problem. Pattern matching does not mean unlocking a phone. And if you understand how telecom systems actually work, then what's being presented is not proof, it's confusion dressed up as science. As science. Let's break this down properly, okay? I hope in this video people are going to get a better clarity. First, we need to understand something very basic. Pattern matching is not a phone function. It is not something that happens inside the handset. It is not linked to Face ID, fingerprint, pins, or unlocking screens. It has nothing to do with that. Pattern matching is a network process, okay? When you dial USSD code, for example, *120 star numbers hash, your phone is not thinking. It's not thinking anything. Your phone is not recognizing patterns. The SIM card sends a string to the Vodacom network, and Vodacom servers ask one simple question: does this string match a known service? That's it. That is the pattern matching. I hope it's clear now. Also, how USSD actually works step by step. Let's do that quickly. A USSD code is dialed. At this stage, no money moves, no airtime is bought, no bank is involved, no PIN is entered. Vodacom simply says, yes, this matches a valid service. That is the first pattern match, okay? Step 2, Vodacom sends back a menu. Press 1 for airtime, press 2 for data. Still no payment, no transaction, no airtime value, just navigation. I hope this is clear. Step 3, and this is the critical point. The system asks for a PIN. This is the moment where the banks get involved. Money moves, airtime value is created, records appear everywhere. Without this step, nothing happens. No PIN means no debit, no airtime, no amount, no transaction trail. That is why you do not find the transaction trail in the statement of Ndanzi that Baloyi was busy going through. Hence, Ndanzi, when he asked, show me the airtime, there was no airtime to show. That's why we are not yet there. He was lying. They were there, but because there was no airtime that was bought via the bank, there was nothing for Baloyi to show. Do you understand now? So after that, the session times out, usually within 1 or 2 seconds. Does that sound familiar? Is it something that you guys normally do? I hope that explanation helps. Now, why there is no airtime amount, let's talk about that. This is where the story starts to unravel. If airtime was truly purchased, then there must be a specific airtime value, a bank transaction that shows that there was airtime that was bought, a corresponding Vodacom billing record. But what do we hear instead? General statements, no figures, no amounts, no bank confirmation. Why is that? Because the process never reached the PIN stage. That is what is happening. The system recognized the USSD pattern, yes, but it could not go further. And without going further, there is nothing to show. the big misrepresentation now. Now, here is where things become dangerous. The narratives shift from the network recognize a USSD pattern to the phone was doing pattern matching. This is technically false. Vodacom does not know whether the phone was locked, whether the phone belonged to anyone, whether the SIM card was inside a different handset. USSD SIM-based, USSD is SIM-based, not phone-based. But that is not what Ubaloyi was trying to convey there, if you guys were listening. Put the SIM into any phone, smartphone, feature phone, borrowed phone, the result is the same. So when someone claims this proves the accused phone was used, that conclusion does not follow the science. Why the bank question is being avoided. Notice something very important here. Whenever the question shifts to where is the airtime amount, where is the bank transaction, where is the debit, the answer becomes vague. The topic changes. The timeline is blurred. Why? Because once you connect USSD, PIN, bank, airtime value, the entire theory that Baloyi was busy with collapses. No PIN, no bank, no airtime. It's that simple. Now, there is a procedural confusion, right? This is why the case feels chaotic. Instead of step-by-step rebuttal, clear contradictions, direct challenges to testimony, we are seeing new narratives, technical jargon, documents flooding the record, fatigue tactics. It feels like the state it feels like the state is re-arguing its own case, not rebutting the evidence. That is what it feels like currently. And when technical language replaces logic, confusion becomes the strategy, which is exactly what Ubaloyi was trying to do. That is exactly what he was trying to do. Now, in conclusion, the truth in plain language is that let's say it's very plainly there. Pattern matching does not unlock patterns. USSD does not prove possession. No PIN means no transaction. No transaction means no airtime. No airtime means no bank record. What exists are attempted USSD sessions, not completed purchases. And attempted sessions prove one thing only, that a SIM interacted with the network, not who held the phone, not who unlocked it, not who paid for anything. That is the technical truth. Anything else is noise. That is exactly what Ubaloyi was doing there, making a noise. And if you found this explanation helpful, share it to everyone so that everyone else who was watching and was not understanding, please make sure they get this explanation. Because technical misinformation only survive in silence. And sometimes the truth isn't hidden. It's just buried under complicated words. That is it. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to all of this? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.